House and Committee on the New Zealand Public Health and Disability Amendment Bill No. 2 is resumed. Members, before the lunch break we were debating Clause 1. Ian Lees-Galloway had the call and he has 4 minutes 9 seconds remaining if he wishes.
I do wish so, sir.
Ian Lees-Galloway.
Oh, thank you very much. And in the 4 minutes and 7 or so seconds that I have remaining, I'd like to turn members' attention to the supplementary order paper in the name of Ruth Dyson that refers to Clause 1. And it would amend Clause 1 with the following: this Act is the New Zealand Public Health and Disability (open brackets) Lower Pay and Removal of Human Rights (close brackets) Amendment Act 2013, which is, to be fair, a much more accurate reflection of what this bill actually does, because whilst we've talked about how it all seemed like a really good idea, it seemed like the government was responding appropriately to the needs of families for families of people with disabilities, what we've actually found out, of course, is it does two things in particular. Well, it does three things, two of which are referred to in this amendment. The first thing that isn't referred to in this amendment is the fact that it severely limits exactly who is eligible for these payments, and that's certainly not what families were expecting. But the second thing it does is it actually tells those carers that they are going to be stuck on the minimum wage. That is what they're going to be paid, $13.75 an hour, when the rates, if someone was doing this as a job, if they were taking care of someone who wasn't a family member, let's be honest, aren't that flash. They're not exactly, it's not exactly the highest paid job in the world, but they are significantly better than this. And the response we have had from the people who will be affected by this bill is that it's just such a miserly approach. If the government could just have found $1 or $2 more an hour, then that might have just made it a little bit easier to swallow for the families of people with disabilities who are looking after those people. And so what we've got here is a lower rate of pay than what people could expect to get if they were working in the disability sector and if they were caring for someone who wasn't a member of their family. That's the only difference. There's no difference in the nature of the work. There's no difference in the difficulty of the work. If anything, it's probably more demanding because they are taking care of these people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's not just something that you go to and spend 8 hours a day at work and then go home and leave it all behind until the next shift. It's not like that at all, sir. And so, in fact, these people in many ways are even more committed than the incredibly dedicated people out there working in the disability sector. And what does the government say? Their contribution isn't the same, isn't as good as those people who are carers for a living. And the second aspect, of course, is that it is a removal of human rights, because what it says to people is, if you've got a complaint, if you have got a concern and you were thinking about taking this issue to the Human Rights Commission, that right has gone. So you're okay if you did it yesterday or the day before yesterday or any day before then, but from today onwards, it's all over. It's all over, and that, frankly, is nothing more than simple discrimination, absolutely unjustifiable discrimination, and Chris Finlayson even says that. He says it is absolutely unjustified to have that discrimination in this law. So, sir, I certainly support the amendment as proposed by Ruth Dyson's supplementary order paper. We need to make sure our legislation is appropriately titled and that people can get a full understanding of what is actually being done right from the beginning. And if this bill had this title, then people would be able to far more easily see through the spin. Not that they're not, Minister. I'm afraid all the efforts are not going to work. People are seeing through this, and people know that that's what this bill is about.
I call Louise up.